What's going, guys? Hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day. In this video, we're going to be talking about HIMS stock, right? Particularly, what are some of the reflections and some of the things that I learned from this stock, right? So it's very rare that I take a huge W from a stock and yet I have some reflections, right? So maybe these are one of the very good rare cases, and it's always good to take some learning lessons from wins as well as losses, right? I think we as investors tend to learn too much from the losses and too little from the wins, right? Because when we're making a lot of money or something like that, we just think we're so smart or something, right? But there might be a lot of other reasons that we are not seeing, risks that we take that we are not understanding, right? So in this case, we're going to be talking about HIMS because this is a stock I've had a lot of history with, right? I first bought HIMS around $7, I think, and then I sold around 15, and then I sold the rest around 21, and then I watched it go all the way to 70 something. And after this was, I think, the Donald Trump crash or something, I bought something at like I think 30 something dollars, right? So 30 to 20 something dollars, right, was my entry. And then I sold somewhere here. It was after this drop. So after this drop, the week it recovered, and then I sold somewhere here at $51, right? So after that, I have not been really monitoring the stock. I didn't really think too much of the stock, right? I obviously see the headlines every now and then. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about something very, very important, right? Because it's something that I took less seriously when I was a worse investor, right? So a lot of the moves that I was making here, I made a lot of wrong moves, right? Because I bought at 7, I sold half at 15, right? Because I thought I doubled my money, I need to get out, right? Where else it actually went to 70, right? So that's a 10x, right? But obviously I didn't have the vision and all that they are gonna sell so much different thing, right? When I was buying somewhere, I think around $7, maybe somewhere here, it was actually just a Viagra company. They were selling a lot of Viagra stuff like that. So what are the reflections today, right? We can see that HIMS stock is now down maybe 80% from this local high, right? From the all-time high, I think it's down maybe 85 or maybe 82 or 83%, right? And some people might say, oh, there were no signs or something like that. And I can definitely tell you that there were a lot of signs, right? But even when I was researching the stock here, there were several red flags, which I will show you after this, after I talk about this first point, right? That they were actually like skirting the regulatory lines. But when we want to make a bull case as investors, right, we can say, this is just innovation. Look at Uber, they also skirt the regulatory lines, and now look at them, right? But this is one of the things that I researched that was a very, very big red flag, right? Although even after I read this red flag, as I mentioned, right, I was a worse off investor then, right? Even though after I read this red flag, I did go ahead and buy the stock, right? And I made a lot of money in HIMS stock, right? It's actually all time one of my biggest winners, right? So I'm not like bagging on HIMS investors or what, right? I'm just saying that sometimes we make money for the wrong reason, right? Buying HIMS was definitely maybe not the smartest thing after I read this, right? Because if you take a look at this prompt, I have this knowledge inside my head since 2023, right? I knew that actually HIMS, one of the co-founder, was involved in Terra Luna, which was a crypto that collapsed, right? After it was at a very tail end of a podcast. I can't remember which podcast, but at like 50 something or 60 minutes, he said he was very excited about this and stuff like that, right? And this podcast has been up since before Terra Luna collapsed, right? So maybe now after it collapsed, maybe they took it down or something like that. I really have no idea, right? But I can tell you I have the knowledge in my head before I even made the investment. But after I made the investment, it went up 10x, right? Because I was thinking that, it doesn't really matter because it's the co-founder and not the current CEO, right? But I think this is a very, very big lesson because the company that the CEOs and all keep is very, very important to tell you what sort of character they have, right? So obviously, I do understand that a lot of people might not have had this knowledge, and maybe I should have made videos regarding this. I think I did mention it in one of my old videos, but my YouTube videos get like 5 views, right? So I'm not really spreading the message, right? I'm doing this more of because I just have this realization after reading the earnings, right? And I texted my friend saying that, actually I think Andrew Dudum is just full of shit, right? And the realization came here, right? Because look at this. What are they saying? The majority of our revenue came from non-GLP-1 offerings. Okay, hypothetically, if you were the CEO of a company, your stock is down 80% from all-time highs, and it's partially because of this, right? You would break it down to percentages. How many percentage is our company selling GLPs and how many percentage is non-GLPs and stuff like that, right? So my take is that it's probably not the majority. So he is telling you the half truth, right? Which is maybe it's like 35% of the revenue, maybe it's 45% of the revenue, but it's not majority of the revenue. It's not more than 51% of the revenue. So this is what I'm reading from this, right? So sometimes it's very important to read between the lines, right? Because sometimes CEOs, their incentives and your incentives are not aligned, right, as an investor. So I think some red flags were always there, but of course when the stock is going up 200% in 43 days, right, no one sees any red flags. Everything is good, everything is fun, everything is fake news, you know, fake fear, uncertainty and doubt, right? And again, right, I'm not making this video to bag on HIMS investor to say, oh, how I'm so smart that I sold out before the top, right? If I was so smart that I can sell out at the top, I won't wait for this Novo Nordisk news that dropped and I had like 30, 40, 50% of my portfolio in HIMS stock, and HIMS stock dropped 30% in a day, right? I'm not that smart, right? So, but I did manage to catch a rebound, so I lost about 20% from the all-time high. But from that point, it was like, I think I was up like 100% here, and when it dropped here, I was up 40, 50%. So even after the drop, I made like 60% or something on my money, right? And this is since what, April to, this is June, July, right? So it's not a bad result, right? For something that I have bad analysis for, right? In my opinion, anyways. Because clearly I saw a lot of red flags. This was case in point. This is the biggest red flag to me, right? That he was involved in such a big like I would call it a Ponzi scheme, right? And he probably personally profited a lot of money, right? Because I would think that he sold a lot of it also. So this also taught me a lesson, right? We have to be quite relentless with investments nowadays, right? Because any red flag, right? Any chance that you need to bail on like this kind of investments, right? Don't feel like you're part of a club. You are, you know, this thing. If something comes up like this, but you don't take it seriously, right? Especially when it comes to capital management and investments, right? A lot of bad things can happen, right? Imagine if you read this news and then you just avoided investing into HIMS, right? Just don't invest into HIMS. So obviously that would in hindsight be a bad idea, right? But you, for every HIMS 10x that you see, you probably avoid a lot of these catastrophic situations, right? Because some people might say, oh, if you read that and you believe that, you might have just like avoided the stock and miss out on this 10x. But first of all, we didn't know that it was going to go 10x when you're reading this red flags, right? And second of all, a lot of other stocks also did 10x. So it's not a really good argument, right? A lot of other stocks without so many red flags also did like 10x or 5x. And you have to remember, when you're buying here, maybe you're buying a 1-2%, 3% position, and then when it's up here, you're like, oh my god, this stock is going up so much, the fundamentals look so good. It can influence you to put in 10, 20, 30% of your portfolio, right? And then the result is this, right? Minus 80%, right? So you make 10 times on your 1-2% of your portfolio, so it's 20% of your portfolio. You add in another 10%, and then it goes down 80%, right? At the end of the day, it's still a bad result, right? And especially when you count in all the opportunity costs, right? So obviously none of this was financial advice, right? This is by no means a video talking about whether HIMS stock will go up or down from here, right? And even though I'm very negative on the video, actually if you point a gun to my head and you ask me, is HIMS going to go up or down in the next I don't know, 2 months, right? I would actually say up, right? Because it's so oversold. Now it's trading at 1.3 times sales. And I think the stock has been basically brutalized, right? And all the things that I'm talking about has been priced into the stock, right? So this was just more of a lessons and reflections thing, right? And if I say all this, some might be wondering, why don't you like buy HIMS stock now? You're going to make massive profits, right? So after reviewing all these things, if your first instinct is to buy the stock, I mean, if you're going to trade the stock, is something else, right? But if your first instinct is to think that this is a good investment, when there are red flags in management and questionable business practices, I would just stay clear of these companies, right? There's too many companies out there that we can invest in that don't have all these issues, right? Even though you can say, oh, it's going to be a very, very good V-shaped recovery. Look how much you make if it goes back to the all-time high, right? There's a reason that the sell-off has been so brutal, right? It's not only because the market is getting it wrong or something like that, right? Because the market does get it wrong. Maybe the degree of the sell-off should have been 60% instead of 80%, or maybe 70% instead of 80%. The market does get it wrong in that ways, right? But no stock goes down 80% without some fundamentals of the company being questionable or something wrong with the company, right? So these are some of the reflections and thinking that I've been doing this morning. So I just wanted to document it in a video. I'm not even sure if I'm going to post it, right? But probably I will send it to a friend, right? So yeah, that's about all I wanted to share. If you did enjoy the video, do help me smash up the like button, hit subscribe, and also hit the bell button. With that being said, have a fantastic day ahead, and peace out.